Yeah, doing great. Was hoping to hook up with you in spring training. Couldn't get our signals together, but glad you were able to give us some time today. I know you're real busy today. A few items I want to talk to you about, but first things first, you broke the story on the Indians signing of Johnny Damon. How much of a difference maker you think he'll be for our tribe?
I do think he'll help, Bruce, and he is still a very competent and good hitter. Is he a great outfielder? No. And he can't throw. We all know that. We've known it for years. But he is a positive guy on a team, and he will bring some offense. He will bring some leadership. And for the Indians, really, there's nothing to lose here.
Anything, with the Indians you can share with us on why the Abreu deal fell through?
I don't know exactly why it fell through. And what appeared to happen was at the money end of it, they just couldn't agree on. And, of course, to take on Abreu, who's making $9 million this year, there would have had to have been a significant financial exchange. The Indians were not going to take on the bulk of that. Now, next question is, would Abreu have been a better addition than Damon? A little bit different player, different hitter, but I'm not sure that he would have been better. And he's still a great on-base guy, and probably always will be until he retires. But Damon does some things, too. Damon runs better. He's in better shape. So, given the cost here, which is not that significant, it seems to me the Indians did just fine.
Is Abreu capable of playing the outfield anymore, Ken? I questioned the same thing when we found out that Vladimir Guerrero was at our academy down in the Dominican Republic.
Of all these guys, Guerrero, Damon, Abreu, none of them offers quality defense. Now, when you're talking about how bad they are, there are degrees, and I'm not sure even which one is worse than the other, but none is good. So it's hard to kind of rate them against each other, but that's not why the Indians would have signed any of them. And listen, we'll see what Johnny does. He's always a motivated guy. He is a winner. He plays on winning teams, and I would expect he'll be a positive force for that club.
Hopefully he'll be the influence that Derek Lowe has been on our pitching staff. I met him and interviewed him for the first time down in camp. Ken, I can't tell you how impressed I was with him. The guy has got a fantastic attitude, and he's still effective at 38 years old.
He is, and it's funny, at the end of last season, some of the Braves players who really respected him a great deal because of his work ethic wondered if maybe he was close to being done. And certainly you could have raised that question fairly. But, hey, it looks like it might not be every time out, but it looks like he's still got it. And, again, he's somewhat like Damon in that regard. Yes, a positive guy and a guy that's been there and is useful on the staff.
All right, let's switch to Miami tonight because the 5-game suspension is now been served by Ozzie Guillen. This will be his first game back. Loria spoke out and pointed out that attendance was not affected over the weekend when Guillen was not the field manager of the team. What do you sense down there? Is there going to be protests, Ken?
Well, I don't know for sure, Bruce. I would expect there may be something, but I don't know how significant it's going to be, and I don't expect that it is going to dramatically impact their business. Because while some people surely were upset, and justifiably so, there are other people in the Cuban-American community there who, while upset, aren't going to say, this is stopping me from going to enjoy baseball. And they're not going to hold it against the Marlins that Ozzie said what he did, as silly as it was. So it remains to be seen, but based on what we've seen so far, I'd be surprised if it was a major problem for them. Now, going forward, what becomes of Ozzie? Well, I hope we've heard the last of his political commentary. That would be helpful to him. But at the same time, he is Ozzie Guillen, and that's his personality. He's an upfront, out-there guy, and I don't know that we're going to hear him shut up exactly, but on politics, that's something that really it doesn't behoove him to go there again.
Loria claims that we in the media exaggerated this story. I personally don't believe that that's the case at all. As a matter of fact, when we opened up our phone lines here on our television network, I can't believe how many people were saying that the children in this country today aren't even being taught about the Bay of Pigs and Fidel Castro. Kind of scary.
That may be true. I can't speak to the education system, Bruce. That's not my area of expertise. But we'll see what actually happens. And I advise people to read my colleague's story, John Paul Morosi, today. He was referring to some of the comments that Lowe made in his column. And to some degree, these things are always inflated by the media. But my goodness, Ozzie was not misquoted. He said what he did, and his words are going to have an impact. Now, people have said, Bruce, and they've kind of misconstrued this, in my opinion, well, it's the First Amendment, you can say whatever you want. Well, yes, you can say whatever you want in our country without the government interfering. That's what the First Amendment gives you. But you, as an employee, all the people listening out there as employees, me as an employee, we're not allowed to say whatever we want without consequence.
Right.
And our employers can take consequence against us. So to me, this was not a free speech issue. This was a situation where the Marlins said, you know what, this does not reflect what we stand for, and we are concerned about the business implications, and a 5-game suspension, in their view and mine, was appropriate.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. What in heaven's name is in Bobby Valentine's head to stir this controversy with his ball club over this Euclid statement?
I don't know. And this is Bobby V. And Bruce, you remember his previous incarnations. This is who he is. And he is a guy who almost can't help himself. He says things that are controversial. Sometimes they're more controversial than not. In this case, if you want to give him every benefit of the doubt, he was responding to a question, and later in the question, he did offer a defense of Euclid. But when you say a player is not physically and emotionally into it, as he did with Euclid, I don't care. That is tantamount to fighting words to a player, especially one who is a heart and soul guy like Euclid. So, in my view, Bobby's a manager, much like a Manny Acta. He's a spokesman for the franchise. There's 2 press conferences a day. He knows how to handle the media. He knows how to answer questions, and he answered that one poorly. And he basically got slapped down by his own players, Pedroia in particular.
Yeah, and, you know, the players don't need a distraction like this. As a matter of fact, our Rick Manning, who does the color analysis on our telecast here on Sportstime Ohio, Ken, said the same thing about Ozzie Guillen. He took the players' perspective. Those players of the Marlins did not need a distraction like this any more than these Red Sox players need this kind of distraction with Valentine.
I would agree, and this is even worse in my view, because Ozzie did not put any single player on the spot. Now, granted, they had to answer questions about what he said. But what Bobby Valentine did was create a circumstance where yesterday there were reporters gathered around Euclid's locker from the moment he got there. And he put him on the spot. That is wrong. That's not what a manager is supposed to do. And that is something that if he does it again, it's going to have a problem. He may have a problem right now. People have asked, has he already lost his clubhouse? Fair question. I would say the clubhouse now perhaps lost some trust.
Roger Clemens, jury selection as we speak is being conducted. Barry Bonds may be called to testify by the government. Bud Selig may be called to testify by the government.
Peter Gammon.
Your take on this fiasco?
It's a fiasco, and I understand all the people who say the government should not be involved in things like this. And on a general level, I agree. At the same time, if you do what Clemens is alleged to have done, which is lie to the government under oath, then there should be consequences. That's not a good thing, lying to the government. Ask Martha Stewart, and ask a lot of people who have done that over the years and paid the price for it. So, I don't know how this is going to turn out, and I would agree with anyone who says this is not the best use of our tax-paying dollars. But at the same time, what Clemens did, or alleged to have done, if he did it, and is found guilty of it, that's a serious offense. It's not something to be snickered at. And, again, I'm not saying this is a worthwhile endeavor. I'm just saying that if he committed this crime that he's alleged to have committed, then he should pay the penalty for it.
You know, the thing that kills me about this story, Ken, Clemens brought all this upon himself. He's the one that called for that press conference that then he cut short.
Right.
He's the one that requested to go on 60 minutes. Right. He's the one that wanted to testify in front of Congress.
I agree, and in my view, Roger's a little bit delusional. That's my opinion. I don't know that for a fact. And I actually think that he honestly believes he didn't do anything. Because he's worked himself into a frenzy about this. But some of the other things that we know suggest otherwise.
Ken Rosenthal of Fox Sports, it is always a delight for you to share what time you can, Ken. Look forward to the next time, my friend. Have a good season.